Yes, yes. All right, welcome to a very special edition of Balloon Party here today. Because there's some things that I'm not happy about. And they all have to do with Jackson. Well, I don't know what's going on. I know we don't have wireless in the building today.
Right.
Now, I've adjusted kind of as a MacGyver. And I connected to my hotspot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many people would have thought of that.
Not many.
Yeah, maybe 2%.
If that.
So I am able to connect, and I want to be able to talk it over with people in the Air Comfort Service text line, and I want to be able to talk it over with the people watching on YouTube. But as I look up at the monitor, where I oft times read the comments, many of which are critical of the presentation, it's not up there today. And so my question to you, Jackson, is the fact that it's not up there due to the fact that we don't have wireless in the building.
Correct.
Okay,
so we are on YouTube Live because of Ethernet.
Ethernet season.
So hardwired internet is working. However, our wireless is down. So we can, of course, broadcast to the people on YouTube. But seeing the actual YouTube broadcast itself, unless you're on data or, like you said, your hotspot, it's going to be tough. Matter of fact, it's impossible.
Jen Phone, one of our many female listeners, says, does Tim have court today? Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, you may notice that I'm not in my standard getup.
That is a hell of a blazer.
You like the blazer?
Big. Yes, Dick Van Dyke. I am a big fan.
Dick Van Dyke. Why Dick Van Dyke?
He had the. Didn't he have the famous?
Ooh, the door just opened. Is Jamie Rivers about to come in here and hold you accountable?
Oh, Randy is.
Randy Carricker is.
Hi, Randy.
That computer works for you, brother.
What's that?
Computer,
this?
Yeah, if you sign into that.
Oh, well, how about that? Because that's on Ethernet, too.
Yeah.
Boy, wouldn't it be nice if a producer would tell you these things?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Randy Carricker will, though.
My producer told me that.
How about that?
Well, he went
Matt
to-
Rocchio.
Yeah. South City gets me again.
Yep, once again. And Randy Carricker.
Yeah.
Look at that.
And laughing at me on his way out.
Yeah, he is. Laughing and pointing, too.
Yeah, and Rocchio's over there, too. He's spiking the football. All right, I get it. Dick Van Dyke had, like, the famous bad British accent, no, in Mary Poppins?
Chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chim chiroo.
Just a perfect portrayal right there.
Yeah. We will talk Mary Poppins on today's program. I now can see the YouTube, thanks to Randy Carricker, Matt Rocchio, Tanner T. Diddy, BK Ferrario, Jamie Rivers, Kerry Davis, Anthony Stalter, and Marshy Marsh and his Playful Posse. And, of course, Mike Ryder.
I popped on with BK and Ferrari yesterday.
Really?
I was walking. I was returning to my booth from using the restroom, and I stopped in to say something to Mike Ryder. Next thing I know, there was banging on the glass, and I was beckoned in. They were talking about Tinder and Bumble and these dating apps.
You're a man in love, don't you know?
I am. I told them that, but they asked if I had been on them. I said, of course, yes, because Tanner's trying to really hone in his craft on Tinder and Bumble.
How's that going?
I gave him some tips. I gave him some pointers. You want to stand out a little bit, but not too quirky, and you never want to start a message back and forth with "Hey" or "How are you doing?" No good. You got to get a little more creative. And so I tried to school him up.
So when you say be quirky, but not too quirky, what does that mean? Tell me what that means. Because I've been married for how long, Jackson? 13 years. Mm-hmm. And I've been with my wife for how long, Jackson? 16 years?
16 Hall of Fame years.
Thank you. So the dating apps, I missed them. Mm-hmm. So then what would a gentleman do?
I don't think you want, like, there's a lot of standard photos that a guy might have, holding a fish, maybe a dead animal in full camo. That's probably...
Oh, once again, just kind of crapping on the working man who enjoys hunting.
I'm not
a family tradition.
I'm not saying that. And I think you might, if that's one of your passions, you might attract somebody with similar passions. And if that's what you're looking for, then God bless. But if you're maybe in the more metropolitan area...
Oh, here it is. If you're more central corridor, just say it. That's fine. I know what you're saying. The audience knows what you're saying. You don't need to talk down to people.
It's just something a little quirky, not some...
So what would quirky be? You've already scoffed at people who enjoy hunting.
I don't mean to scoff at anybody, or fishing. Maritime activities are lovely. But, some, I don't know. There's just little quirky things you can be, a little bit funny, show a little character. Don't be afraid to be self-deprecating. It's kind of like the rules of radio.
So what did you put on your profile? And again, we want to acknowledge for all the ladies out there in Clayton and Ladue and Huntley.
Thank you.
Jackson is taken.
What was on my profile?
Jackson's currently debating whether or not to really share it.
A picture of me and Lisa Ann was certainly on there.
Really?
Like doing a broadcast.
Bold.
Like doing a broadcast, yeah.
That's kind of bold.
It stands out, though. If the person knows who Lisa Ann is, it stands out. It's like, is that guy Lisa Ann?
So then if you get a message and she says, "Are you with Lisa Ann?" right away, you know she's sporting AF.
Theoretically, yeah. Because Lisa Ann's obviously.
Nice. Boy, I like your tactics.
Yeah. So there was some there. My love of Trader Joe's was in there.
Oh, so that's kind of, hey, I get that one. I know what's going on there.
Trader Joe's, if I said Whole Foods, now
And
that's.
if Trader Joe's is closed, you'll see me at Straub's. I got that
cheap.
one.
It's cheap.
I got that one.
Whole Foods is the one that's expensive. My Lord.
All right. So, okay. So you're communicating to sexually comfortable and wealthy ladies.
No. Idea is sexually comfortable and know a good bargain and fresh fruit. And then a little bit of that. And I can't remember what else. There's definitely I don't think there was any dog pictures. Not dog guys. People know.
Oh, like dog avatars attacking you?
Definitely not a dog avatar guy. Not really a dog pet guy either. So I don't think I.
So you don't like dogs? You mentioned that in your profile?
No.
I would imagine that might be a
big
problem.
red flag. It's a big red flag. That's something you have to peel the layer back a little bit to find out about me. I don't
know if it's an endearing trait, just being transparent.
It's not.
I mean, the talking down to people who love hunting, I don't like it. Mm-hmm. Hey, I love the Central Corridor because Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
I love the Lisa Ann play, though.
Yeah. That was
and when they ask, have you ever slept with Lisa Ann? You have an obligation, if you're going to start this relationship off with honesty, to say yes.
No, there's a stipulation. I slept in the same bed as Lisa Ann. I never had intercourse with Lisa Ann.
And then they're going to go, what the hell's your problem? I mean, I'm just telling you, that's what they're going to say, because then they're going to wonder, oh, is this guy, like to sit on a Davenport? That's what they're going to think.
Right. And if that's your thing, we don't kink shame.
Yeah, I want to make that clear. Yeah. But it might not be what a 24-year-old, lass in St. Louis is looking for.
Probably right. Yeah, I mean, but that's a story. It's a conversation starter. We're already talking, And so if I have to explain myself on why that situation occurred, then easy money.
Trader Joe's is the Dollar General of Huntley. It's from the 816. This guy's 100% getting pegged.
Nah, nonsense. That is nonsense.
There's the picture of you with Lisa Ann, the one in the yellow diaper.
No.
It's from the 636.
I don't know how people could have saw that picture and thought it was a diaper. It was a belt that they made me wear.
Explains why this guy wanted to watch Saltburn on the first date. Is that true? You wanted to watch Saltburn?
She, my current girlfriend, who's lovely, she suggested we go see Saltburn for our first date.
Eunuchs love Davenports.
You think I'm a eunuch?
I just read what's in the Air Comfort Service.
Lord Varys? No, nonsense.
These city boys' profile pics have a bottle of wine, legs crossed. It is loafers' profile picture. That's from the 314.
City boys. Like with Green Acres. Get out of here.
Lisa Ann's kissed my wife before, so are Jackson and I Eskimo brothers. That's from the 618.
That's an interesting.
Yeah, boy.
Call in.
Yeah.
Leave a mic drop.
A kid from Ladue cares about cheap groceries. Get the F out of here. It's from the 636.
Hey, man. Bargain's a bargain.
I was going to let the shot at pro wrestling fans slide, but now you're coming after hunters. Shame on you, Piddles. It's from the 314.
I'm not coming after anybody. I'm just saying there's probably a lot of people with hunting pictures in their profile, and if you want to stand out, maybe don't have that. I don't know. But if that's one of your passions and you're looking to find someone else who's also passionate about that, then by all means, put that in your profile. All right. I'm no expert.
Well, you got called into the show as an expert.
I know.
Joining us right now here on BK and Ferrario is St. Louis area dating expert Jackson Burkett.
He called me Jackson Bennett Burkett, too. I said, if you go to Ladue, you get the full name.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, it was, they brought me in. I just said, fellas, I got my girlfriend off of a dating app. However, I would not call myself an expert or a real pro's pro by any means.
Thank you. So is now Tanner the Wilt Chamberlain of St. Louis Sports Radio?
He said he was on kind of like a cold streak. And I said, it's all right. If everyone goes through
and then you talked him up.
Well, I say you got to keep grinding.
And you brooksed him before he took the ice against the Soviet Union.
I said, keep grinding. Keep grinding, Tanner. They're a smart guy. He'll be all right.
I don't like hunting either. Does that mean I have to get pegged too? That's from the 314.
Like, yeah, apparently according to some of these folk, I get it. You got to control the deer population. You're not going to catch me saying bad things about hunting.
I literally just heard Jackson doing an ad about hunting and fishing when I logged on. That's from the 573. You're doing an ad for a hunting and fishing company?
I think I might have...
Fraud season. Fraud season. Pull the account.
I think I might have voiced something from Missouri Tourism. I can't remember.
Wow.
People are sought after my voice, which has been described as a gravelly lesbian. Which hurts a little, I guess.
I was wearing head-to-toe American flag clothes in my Tinder profile, and I'm now married to someone I met on there. It's from the 314.
Wow. How many full Old Glory jumpsuits do you have in your closet, Tim?
Oh, man, I do have a lot of jumpsuits. Mainly my stuff from St. Gabriel's. It still fits.
A lot of velour.
Libby Jack's profile probably says if you vote right, swipe left.
No. Good one, though. Good one. That was pretty funny.
Piddles is the marksman of Frontenac.
No, I've never fired a weapon. That might surprise people to hear. These hands, city hands, Robert Shaw said.
Oh, wow, this gentleman has had his wife kissed by police.
Is that a pick?
Yeah, picks in. It's all happening in the Air Comfort Service text inbox, and it's all happening in the YouTube chat, where what a treat for the audience today. I'm not wearing my standard ball cap and St. Gabriel era jumpsuit. I'm all dialed up.
You look great.
Yeah, I'm excited about myself. My wife texted me and said I look really good.
That's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, after 16 years, that's not how people talk.
Why?
Just tell me, just trust me. In 16 years,
okay, fair enough.
And everybody listening kind of knows the program.
Yeah,
you know.
But I really like the jacket, shirt, pants, but no tie. Top button undone.
You don't really see a lot of ties in 2020.
Usually only weddings and funerals, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing, I think.
I agree. The tie.
Especially if you're a little bulky. I know you'd say fat. Especially if you're a little bulky and that neck can be problematic, and then you got to button her tight.
Well, then you get a little bit of overflow.
You got a muffin top on your neck.
It looks like a volcano starting to erupt.
Yeah,
that's not what you want. But a suit in general, though, does hide a little bit more of the beef.
Yeah, men, we've kind of rigged the attire system.
Big time.
We just have to wear a tux or a suit, and it can be designed to hold in the gut.
Yeah, well,
men age fine. Well, that's because we're hiding everything. Everybody's wearing Spanx. Is that right?
That cummerbund in itself is something that hides the...
Is that right? Is that what the cummerbund was designed for, to hide the gut?
I don't think so, but that's certainly a byproduct. But yeah, you're right. The Spanx, the male Spanx. Maybe I'll come in with a pair of male Spanx.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah,
you should put that in your profile. I am wearing Spanx in this picture.
Full disclaimer.
Right. And then people are like, oh, this guy's honest. Andy's on HD2. All right, we got a break. Jackson, you don't feel like you have a lot today.
I don't know how you could have heard that first segment and think I don't have a lot. Bringing the heat.
But here's the thing. Sometimes you don't think you have a lot, and then I hear the question, I go...
Yeah.
But maybe it's an expectation thing. Maybe it's a subconscious thing with me.
I can tell you this is, I'm not trying to be like, this is not on purpose to kind of slow roll my questions.
This isn't a do I look fat in this dress thing.
What's it called? Fishing for compliments?
Fishing for compliments, which is essentially social media.
Right. No, I didn't do that with this. I just, some days you feel it, some days you don't.
All right. And you don't feel it today.
I don't have the same conviction that I've had writing questions, but there are some days where I thought my questions were great, and we
and then ask the question: would you rather Missouri win or lose?
Yeah. Yep. Maybe
that's in there today.
Maybe because of that question, they got smoked. Maybe it's my fault.
Yeah. Think about that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the program's called Balloon Party, and it airs on 101 ESPN. Welcome back to Balloon Party 101 ESPN. My name's Tim McKernan. That's Jackson Burkett. And the audience is not happy with the program today, Jackson, as you wanted to give dating tips for the second straight day on their airways.
This is the people's show.
What did Janet say?
Do you guys ever talk sports?
Wow.
The answer to that
I'm
is-
here for Jackson's dating tips.
Yeah, I think, a nice little mix. This was, of course, this topic came up because it was on the BK and Ferrario show.
Oh, so you just threw them under the bus. I noticed that.
No. But in fairness, they do 3 hours, we do 1 hour. It's like...
I mean, we do 4 hours. We're on HD2.
That's right, TMASTM.
Just because you don't know where Huntley is doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Bingo. You know what? I'm going to write that down.
Yeah, that could be a T-shirt. All right,
Steal
you
that.
said you're not high on your sports questions today, but you were high on the question, would you rather Missouri win or lose last week? So maybe sometimes your judgment is a little skewed.
Sure.
So what do we got today? Well, and I'll know exactly where we are based on this first question.
But that's not true because sometimes my last question's the best.
I know, but I might walk out of the studio by the time that happens.
It's all right. People are going to get a lot of NBA breakdown. What are your thoughts on the heavy usage of bullpen in the playoffs? When did it start, and do you think it's the most effective strategy to win playoff baseball games?
I like this question.
All right.
I got to be honest with you.
Yeah, that was a late edition.
I like this question. I actually really think it started with the Cardinals in 2011.
Yeah, TLR.
Yeah. And perhaps somebody in the audience can say, no, that was certainly a prominent one locally, but it actually started with this manager in this postseason. And I'm absolutely willing to listen to it, but fortunately for those of us who are lifelong Cardinal fans and at least 20 years old, you will remember the Cardinals were in the NLCS in 2000, 2002, 2004, 2005, 2006. And then they were in a minimum the NLDS in 2001 and 2009. So, there's a good sample size of paying close attention to postseason baseball throughout the first decade of this century. And my recollection is the 2011 Cardinals. Now, there might have been some slap-ass team that was in the playoffs that didn't have a good rotation, but they didn't make a deep run. But the Cardinals, in my opinion, were the first ones that went with, and it was out of necessity because Jaime Garcia and Edwin Jackson and Kyle Loesch were fine, but they weren't good enough to get you through a series, in particular with the Phillies, with that rotation of Halladay, Cliff Lee, Cole Hamels, and Roy Oswalt. And so once Jaime Garcia blew a lead against the Phillies in Game 3 of that series, La Russa then just started pulling anybody not named Carpenter the moment they got into trouble. So that's where I think it started. I don't know if it's credited that way, but that's my recollection. Now, the first part of your question, or the second part, what do I think of it? I guess it's got to work, otherwise people wouldn't be doing it.
One would think, yeah.
I feel like I am on an island on this fight. You love it because you just served a fastball and you knew I was going to hit it. And you're just nodding knowingly, like, all right, I didn't have much, but I gave him his red meat.
Listen, if I throw the match and it somehow hits the wick and the spark is started, that's all that matters.
All right. My issue is right now is that Major League Baseball's playoff format not only erases the majority of the value of a 162-game regular season. And I've got some data for you in a moment that's going to skull pound you. And I might have come out of GIF Depot retirement had the Dodgers lost last night. Now, I wouldn't have found out about it till 5 this morning.
Right.
Because then it would have been... these are damning statistics. But because they're coming from my mouth and most all y'all hate me... Like if it were coming from like Randy Carricker's mouth, I'd be like, oh, wow, did you hear what Randy had to say? But what do they call me? The mother effing Antichrist? Is that what they call me?
Yeah, godless pervert. Worships the sun.
So then it's like the stats are tainted by the messenger. The stats are the stats, Jack. Stats are the stats. But the baseball that is played from April through the end of September is like, oh, yeah, remember when we did that for 162 games? Well, now we're going to just do this thing where we just, like, have sprints. And I just don't, for the life of me, I do not understand how this is just like, yeah, it's good. I don't get it.
Right.
You want some data?
I
I'll
do.
give you data.
Yeah.
I don't give a damn what you think you're entitled to. But I'm going to give it to you anyway.
Boy, this suit has got you. Yeah, you're looking good.
Yeah. This is a boy's large, by the way. It's a Bugle Boy. The Bugle Boy suit. Jackson.
Yes.
The 2022 Dodgers had the best record in the National League.
Sure did. Probably won the World Series, right?
They had a .685 winning percentage and won 111 games. Their record in the postseason, 1-3.
Oh.
The 2022 Braves were the number 2 seed that year in the National League. They won 101 games, a .623 winning percentage. Their record in the postseason, 1-3. Small sample size, you say. Mm-hmm. That's fine, I understand. I like a large sample size in which to form some form of a thesis. 2023 Dodgers, they won 100 games. They were the number 1 seed. They had a 0 winning percentage in the postseason, 0-3. 2023 Braves, were the number 1 seed. They won 104 games. The Dodgers won 100 games. They were the number 2 seed. The Braves had a 1-3 record in the postseason. 2024 Phillies, they won 95 games.
Won the NL East.
Yeah, they were rewarded with the division. And then they got a few days off. And then they were 1-3 in the postseason. If the Dodgers lose tomorrow night to Mike Schilt and the Padres, the top 2 seeds in the National League since the advent of this asinine postseason that Major League Baseball is trying to sell to you people, and I don't say you people like Jackson does. I say to you fans,
right.
You hardworking fans,
right,
who invest your money in this sport, in this game, and love the St. Louis Cardinals, and love America for that matter.
Red-blooded Americans.
Hardworking. They're telling you the regular season matters, and here's the evidence that it does not. This is Exhibit A, and it's my only exhibit because I don't need another one. But you keep showing up. Win the division, be a top 2 seed, and then get a bullet in your head in 4 games. The Dodgers of 2024 are the first 1 or 2 seed in the National League to even get to a Game 5 in the LDS. And you're telling me this is a reward? And we all go, oh, this is great. It's exciting. Well, of course it's exciting. So is snorting a mound of blow, but it doesn't mean it's good for you. Well, the ratings are up. The ratings are up because it's anarchy. This is exciting. The Tigers are in it. Anybody who's had to play hard all the way to the stretch, run, they're going to be in a different spot than the team that actually won 100 games. And I keep holding up this evidence, and I go, this is why I hate it. You're making the regular season an exhibition.
Right.
These are now 5 number 1 or 2 seeds of 5 who have all been eliminated, and all 5 didn't even get to a 5th game. The Dodgers made history last night by forcing a 5th game.
Yep.
Sweet mother of mercy, you're ruining the sport with an asinine postseason. It'd be one thing if the regular season were 16 games. I'd go, okay, I guess this makes sense.
Right.
But instead, you've rendered the regular season useless. The quote-unquote reward is actually a penalty. And so you get 6 seeds representing the National League every damn year.
Yep.
Counterpoint me. Come for me.
Well,
it's the only thing I can get worked up about.
The counterpoint I would have had would be, but Tim, aren't the games so much more exciting because of all these elimination games and these short series and this, that, and the other? But the other thing is, like we've always talked about, they will not reduce the season from 162 games. But they also will never go back in terms of playoff, and they also can't go much deeper than they already go because it'll get too cold to play the sport. So they're in a spot where they're likely actually going to expand the playoffs more than they would reduce it.
Yeah, I would guess if you go, okay, what's the next thing they do? They make that wild card series 5 days.
Yeah.
And then they further penalize the top 2 seeds by having to sit around now for a week.
Yeah, and by extension, now team's regular season strategy changes, and we've seen it with the Cardinals, where it's not, let's try to build the best possible team. Let's just try to get the team that gets in, be one of the top 6 seeds.
I'll tell you what, is becoming something that there's money to be made out there by betting these 6 seeds. Mm-hmm. The 6 seeds at this point, because the division races are lit on fire.
Yeah.
And the division races are lit on fire. Why? Because you kind of don't really care if you win the division.
Yep.
The Rangers blew it last year, if you remember. Most people probably don't, but they blew it. And then they became the wild card team. Well, guess what happened? The Rangers win the World Series, and the team that won the division, they didn't go anywhere. I think they played the Rangers in the ALDS. The Orioles had the best record in the American League. They got swept. But digressing, if you are a team that is fighting all the way through, it's an advantage, which I keep going back to when I talk about the quote-unquote reward of sitting out. It's a reward in football. In baseball, it's proved to be a penalty. And therefore, the team that wins the marathon is immediately put to bed in the postseason. And of course, there are and there will be outliers. But this is 5 out of 5 since they started this in the National League. And if the Dodgers were to lose, that means there has never been a 1 or 2 seed in the LCS. Forget the World Series, in the LCS. I mean, at some point, I would think that if you care about the integrity of the regular season and trying to sell that to people, especially younger people who are turning away from this game in droves, that you would go, okay, we got to do something about it. But they're not, because, again, anything that reduces revenue or doesn't increase margins, if it somehow reduces revenue and reduces expenses, that it's not going to happen. And so we're stuck with this. And that is why I have personally found my interest in regular season baseball decreasing. I think other people say, oh, it's because the game's too slow. I can flip on a football game or hockey game and the energy. And I understand that. But see, I loved the pace of baseball. And I loved the reward of the regular season. And now it's like I hear I'm watching Kevin Burkhardt and Derek Jeter and David Ortiz and Alex Rodriguez last night. And they're like, man, the thing's so great about this postseason is anybody can win. Well, anybody can win any of these things. You give a best of 3, me and 8 of my buddies might be able to play with somebody. It's a best of 3.
Yep.
Baseball dictated 40 years ago that a best of 5 wasn't really a fair test. So they increased the LCSs from a best of 5 to a best of 7. And now you got a best of 3 for division winners?
Total crapshoot.
And if you just want everybody in, and then, oh, isn't this great? Everybody's still involved? Well, of course everybody's still involved because everybody gets in. Or 12 of the 30 get in.
How would your perspective change if they eliminated divisions for the regular season?
There's no point in divisions now. But the issue, again, goes back to that which is given as a reward is actually a penalty.
That's the biggest thing.
And I don't know how they solve that unless they were to reduce the number of teams in there, which they're not going to do. I saw Aaron Boone was interviewed before the Yankees even started with the Royals. And he was asked about John Boy, actually. So I guess John Boy might be on, maybe me and John Boy live on this island together. And I'm fine with that. Like if Orlovsky started screaming about this, I'd go, oh, crap. They
don't pay attention to baseball.
Right, you're exactly right.
They're not worried.
But he's asking Aaron Boone about it, and Aaron Boone goes, yeah, if we get beat, I'm not going to blame the layoff. It's probably not an ideal set of circumstances, but we just got to deal with it. We just got to deal with it. We had the best record in the National League or American League, but we got to deal with it.
Yeah.
For the life of me, I don't get it. But hey, listen, I recognize I'm in the minority. It's not going to change my opinion. I don't care. This is what I think. I think it sucks in a major way. And every damn year, the 6th seed from the National League is in the NLCS. And so far, every year, the 6th seed's been in the World Series. And if the Mets are in the World Series, that'll be 3 out of 3. The 6th best record in the National League represents the league. So you're going to tell me that 162 games are necessary for this? It's garbage. And from my standpoint, it continues to decrease the value of the regular season. You're welcome to text in with your thoughts, the YouTube chat as well. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Balloon Party, 101 ESPN.
This is Action Jackson with a SportsCenter update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. We got Blues hockey tonight, Game 2, as they will be in San Jose taking on the Sharks. You can catch that game right here on your home of the Blues 101 ESPN. Pregame at 8:30, puck drop at 9:30. That was another SportsCenter update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Welcome back to Balloon Party 101 ESPN. Timothy, Michael, McKernan, Jackson, Bennett, Burkett. Second half of Balloon Party. And Jackson got me all worked up, as he's one to do. Now, usually it's with the soft brush of his skin. But in this case, he got me going in the baseball postseason. Mm-hmm. I haven't glanced at the text inbox. I was talking over with Mike Ryder about my older son's Halloween infatuation during the commercial break. And then you went to look at game film of the 2016 NBA Finals again.
Just to chase down Block over and over and over again.
So what is the response in the text inbox? I would imagine it's supportive of my perspective.
I'd say it's 50-50.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Some people are with you. Some people don't really care. Some people like the chaos element of it.
And I want to make this clear. I'm pro-liberty. I don't know if Jackson is. And I don't want to speak for you, because if you don't like liberty, I don't want to put those words in your mouth. But because I don't like something, that doesn't mean I say, why don't you join me? Some people like some things. Some people don't like other things. Think about that for a minute.
It's wonderful prose.
It is. And so I recognize, furthermore, on this topic, that I am in the minority, because I have been complaining about it for a while, and it's never really gained traction.
Sure.
But my voice only gets stronger. The fight continues.
Yeah. The good fight.
It is the good fight.
Someone, the 618, presented maybe
I
a
thought you said
possibility.
we don't read 618 texts.
We'll suspend that for today. So let me play this hypothetical out for you. In the wild card games, it's one day. You get one game, decide those wild card games, and then 2 days later you would start the DSs. Would you be into that?
I think I get where the person's coming from, and here is why I liked the previous format. That's the thing. I'm like, this worked. It actually worked, because you're rewarding the division winners. Now, if you don't care about the division winners, then get rid of the divisions.
I like that the best.
But I'm sure there's reasons for why they're not, because of the rivalries, and you play those teams more often. But the issue was, or what was good, I thought, from the number one seed standpoint, the team that won the marathon, the 4 versus 5 would play the 1 seed. And inevitably, one of them, if not both of them, would use their number 1 starter. Mm-hmm. And then that starter would only be available for a game of the best of 5, which was advantageous to the team that won the marathon. And now the team that won the marathon actually receives what is presented as a reward, which is sitting out for 5 days. And then the data continues to show that it's not. But I was aware of this problem, as I'm sure other baseball nerds were aware of too, that sitting around for a week in baseball is not necessarily a good thing. I think some hockey players feel it's not necessarily a good thing in the hockey playoffs. And you know, Andy Van Slyke, Tigers first base coach, Cardinals, 2006. We lost that World Series when Maglio Ordonez hit that home run against the A's a week before we played Game 1.
Yep.
You know, that wasn't the Detroit Tigers that won all of those games that the Cardinals faced. That was a team that was stale. Brian Snitker, before they played last year, even though they were the team with the best record in the National League, they tried to play scrimmages amongst themselves to maintain, because they knew it was a problem going in. So what I'm saying is, you start the damn NLDS and ALDS 2 days after the end of the regular season. The problem is, you can have a spot like you had this year with the Mets and Braves that you got to kind of build in for this. And so inevitably, you're going to run into this spot where you need to build in some cushion for makeup games, but it even builds in more need for cushion the more series you have, and then you make them best of 3s. It's just nonstop.
Yeah.
You're at the risk of weather.
Right.
So my overall premise, I guess, when it comes to sport in general, but specifically baseball, is do not diminish the value of the regular season. I don't even talk about college basketball much. I know you love it. And one of my reasons for that is the diminishing value of the regular season. I'm not saying, why do you like it? I just don't like it. God bless you. You enjoy it. Wonderful. Makes you happy. So good for you. But for me, I loved baseball. Loved baseball. I can picture final outs when the Cardinals clinched divisions, NL East in the 80s, the Central in the 90s, in 2000. I remember being in the clubhouse in 2000, and those boys got after it. It's quite a scene, celebrating the division. And now, celebrating a division win, it's either, oh, we're about to start our best of three, or, oh, God, we're about to go into the LDS, and we're going to be sitting here while the other team is ready to go because they've been playing nonstop.
Yeah.
And it's not just that wild card series. If you're a wild card, you most likely didn't clinch it until the final day or two of the season. And so it sets up the team that actually won the regular season to fail in the postseason. And so great regular season teams, which used to get to the supposed Fall Classic, are now just set up like the Cardinals were in 2004 for the Red Sox. You knew it was coming. They're machines.
Yeah.
So your bet to make this year was Tigers versus Mets in the World Series. So that's what bothers me. And like I said, if everybody else is happy, God bless America. They're not going to change it. It doesn't matter. I'm just screaming at the rain here. But, you know, this is why I get tilted. And it doesn't surprise me when it happens. You can't go, oh, what a great upset. It isn't an upset if you expect it to happen.
Right. I guess to play devil's advocate, to counterpoint.
Hey, listen, here, Prince, you don't have to couch your words. You're the most respected host on this station.
One of the. And I'm not saying that this is my point, but if I were to play devil's advocate, it would kind of...
You just couched it again.
Lessen the ability of teams to spend a ridiculous amount and almost guarantee them a spot deep in October. You know, it does kind of make you, in a way, and maybe not the right way, but kind of earn that spot into there. Whereas in days gone by of when only the best two teams in each league made it to the World Series, where if you could pay enough, you could probably win 100 games and get to the World Series. You know, maybe why the Yankees...
The team with the biggest payroll last year was the biggest dumpster fire. The team that just had the most dramatic win last night in the Mets, that they're paying off teams to take Verlander and Scherzer in the $300+ million payroll that Steve Cohen had. But again, this speaks to the fundamental flaws with baseball as a whole economically. And this isn't what most people want to hear because they view it as entertainment. And I understand that. For me, it's what ruled my life year round in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. And the reason it did is because you valued the offseason to try to get in the spot in the postseason through the 6-month marathon that was the regular season. And now you've eliminated the value of the regular season, and now you hear people talk about get into the tournament. The tournament. Okay, hey, and if everybody's cool with it, God bless. I mean, like I said, even if you're not cool with it and everybody was with me on this, it's not going to change because that means they'd be reducing revenue. And the Players Association's all for it because they want the salary. And I understand all of that. You know, if somebody was trying to come in and do something that messed with podcast hosts' income, I wouldn't be for it.
Sure.
But in principle, this is a cluster. And from an integrity of competition, baseball has erased the value of the regular season precipitously, and that's what drives me up the wall.
Yeah,
because I loved being rewarded for winning the marathon.
My favorite format, and I think most people would say that their favorite format is probably the one they grew up watching, was like in 06 when the Cardinals, they had the 3 division winners and then a wild card, and that was it for each league. And I thought that was
so cool. There was that, and the reason why I think they went to the 5th team was to penalize the wild card. And then that way the 4 versus 5 would trade out, you know, in this case, I realize the Tigers were the 6. At least I'm pretty sure they were the 6, right? Yeah, they are the 6, but yet they're still playing the 2 seed. I don't know what the hell's going on. Skewball would go up against whoever it would be for take your pick of whatever, but they have to burn him.
Right.
You know, like the Cardinals, if you want to go back to that format, and Chris Carpenter was the only guy, kind of like in 2011, that they could run. The Cardinals have to burn him.
Yeah.
Well, now you got to go up against the Phillies, and you can't start Carpenter twice. You got to trot out Edwin Jackson, Kyle Loesch, was Jaime Garcia.
Yeah.
So it changes the math and it rewards the team for winning the marathon. And of course, the underdog can still win, but right now you're giving the underdog a penalty under the guise of a reward, when in reality it's about the more teams, the better. It's better for money. And I understand it. It is a business. But what I'm trying to do is point out the flaw in the model. And hey, I think I've done that. And people may agree with it. They may not. It's fine. Here is the case. Here is the data. I've presented it. You can form your own opinions from that, and you might not care. And God bless America. That's one of the things that's so great about my perspective of being pro-liberty, where you being anti-liberty really hurts your cause.
Mm-hmm. Well, but then I don't have detractors, I only have detractors if I choose to display them.
They disappear if they detract from you.
I can't say anything definitively on the air, but yes.
Yeah. So it's like Tony Soprano saying to Carmela, Adriana just, she just disappeared.
I work in sanitation, Tim. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. Fair enough.
That guy who hangs around here who looks really tough, that's your uncle, or your cousin, or possibly your grandfather. Uncle, junior, grandfather, Soprano.
I don't know what's going on right now. At first, I thought you were talking about Jamie Rivers, the guy who hangs around here who looks really tough. I'm like, oh, Jackson's taking a shot at Jamie Rivers.
I think you mistake Jamie for me. I'm the one who looks tough.
Oh.
Yeah. You see this blonde mustache?
Yeah, I do.
You haven't commented on it yet, and that has me a little concerned.
Well, I can't see it.
Okay, I'll take that.
Jackson, you only had to ask one question.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's got to be great to work with a host as talented as me.
It's great to work with one who can talk a lot.
But you got to find the sweet spot.
For all you people looking to get into radio.
Oh, and let me host a Scared Straight program this afternoon.
If you can find a host who really can just let her rip, you are in a sweet spot, baby.
Am I like Mad Dog?
No, because I think you believe what you say.
I absolutely.
And you can pronounce names a lot better.
That's Jackson Burkett. I'm Tim McKernan. This is Balloon Party, 101 ESPN. Welcome back to Balloon Party 101 ESPN. Tim McKernan, Jackson Burkett with you here on the program. Jackson, we got 4 minutes left. I've only answered one of your questions. Probably good news for you. The question is, how many more can we get in these 4 minutes?
Probably one, maybe two. Do you think right now has an argument to be the best time of year for sports? You got football in full swing, MLB playoffs, NHL is underway, NBA and college hoops are right around the corner. You think this right now could be the sweet spot for the American sports viewer?
Probably for the American sports viewer, I think most people would say they love this time the most.
Yeah.
I know that for me, it's not because I really enjoy April.
Right. Which has a great great argument as well.
Probably the biggest reason is if there is a sports weekend that I just like my family understands. Well, now my son is into golf, but my wife, I'm like, hey, the Masters, and she just understands. God bless her. But in addition, once the Masters is done, that's when baseball has either just started or it's about to start up. And then the thing that, as far as energy goes, the Stanley Cup playoffs. And for you, the association has their playoffs.
Which, you know what? And here's a bold take.
And the weather warms up, and that's what I correlate it with, which has nothing to do with it, but psychologically I know that impacts it for me. Whereas right now I'm like, the weather's glorious, but in a month we'll be inside and, blah.
Yeah. I'll give a bold take real quick.
Oh, wow.
This is going to play poorly, mainly because it's about basketball, but then also because of the take. Mm-hmm. Give me the first and second round of the NBA playoffs over March Madness. All day,
every day. I thought you were going to say over the Stanley Cup playoffs, and I'm like, now at this point, you're a performer. Okay, so that's kind of
I will
give me the first and second round of the NBA playoffs over the NCAA tournament's first and second round,
or the whole NCAA tournament.
Wow.
Yep. I think it's
that's a take.
I think it's better.
It's
hoops.
A surprising take.
I think it's better basketball. I think if you're a real hoop junkie, I think it's better. I think like instant gratification wise, nothing beats March Madness. It's like dopamine overload, but in terms of like actual gameplay and like the dramatics of it, I will take the NBA playoffs.
All right. Well,
that's my take.
It's pro association, but it's kind of an eye-opening basketball.
But I will say, in terms of like dopamine overload, the way they have these college football night games scheduled out is so perfect. Where a game ends and then you can go right to the middle of the fourth quarter of another game.
I agree with you. I was thinking the same thing last week.
That was like the perfect example of it, where you can just hammer great games back to back to back and drop in perfect timing. They're not ending at the same time. It's great.
I feel like this week's like a bye week for Missouri. I usually listen to all these podcasts.
A buddy bye.
And I'm just like, I mean.
It's so much more fun to listen to those podcasts when Mizzou's playing well.
I know. But I mean, even I'm kind of like, these guys are kind of like, even like the Take Smith has gotten into those.
Yeah.
Oh,
the Take Smith has infiltrated college football to the nth degree.
So I don't know. I don't know what to go to. I do like Reese Davis and Herb Street and Bill Connolly, former Tiger Board poster.
Stanford Steve goes on Chris Long's. He goes on Chris Long's podcast to talk college football. It's great.
All right, Jackson. Well, we're only 48 hours away from the ball in the air in Amherst.
We'll talk to Gabe tomorrow.
Colonel will be with us.
Yep.
I don't really know. I don't really care what happens tomorrow, assuming they win, and there's no way they can lose. We'll see what happens next Saturday against Auburn. That's what the Colonel's going to say.
We got to goad them into asking a question about the foliage or someone who works in Parmesan.
For the record, I'm going to spread this joy to the Balloon Party audience. On TMA, there were some listeners who want us to have the Colonel, who, makes me look like Mr. Sunshine, next week with Eli Drinkwitz say, I know it wasn't great to go to UMass, but in hindsight, aren't you happy that you got a chance to see the New England fall foliage?
If he says it totally
and if he can deliver it, the key is the delivery.
He might.
I start giggling immediately like I'm sitting on a feather, but if the Colonel could deliver that, I think we can get him maybe $2,500.
I think so.
And I would just be watching that thing live with delight.
His response would be unbelievable.
In hindsight, aren't you glad you got to see the New England fall foliage? Ladies and gentlemen, BK and Ferrario are up next.
Real quick, I'm sorry, Tim.
What are we doing here?
I have to freaking, we just got a text from Fastlane producer Andrew Marsh, and he just texted me, Tim looks incredible today.
I mean, I thought the Cardinals announced Marmol got another extension the way you treated that.
But this is breaking news.
And then I'm like, if Marsh texts, it's like the White House is calling. My
I just
God.
thought you'd wanted to know
You're on
that.
the Davenport for Marsh. You are, and you might as well admit it. That was stunning. Now we're in BK and Ferrario's time because your boy toy texted you. But I will say a compliment on appearance from Marsh is about as good as
I
it
was
gets.
going to say.
Yeah, the thing is, I mean, Marsh has that wonderful hair, and he's like 6'5", which makes him 2 feet taller.
Hell of a voice, too. Great hockey announcer.
Jeez. All right, time to go. Bye.